Ministry of Reconciliation through Social Innovation, lesson number 17. The theory of change and the logic model. So the theory of change approach to evaluation, we call it TCAE, theory of change approach to evaluation, which gains the popularity and wide acceptance in the 1990s through its innovative use in the evaluation of comprehensive community initiatives. So prior to that, we basically measure our success only quantitatively. And through this theory of change, industry begin to challenge. We cannot just measure our success based on numbers. We have to measure our impact, the qualitative. So that's how this new way of measurement evolved. So the basic description of TCAE was defined by many scholars, especially Carol Wise. Essentially, Wise proposed that TCAE requires that designers of an initiative articulate the premises and assumptions and hypotheses that might explain the how, when, and why of the process of change. So logic model is flow chart, lack of a better word. So logic model is a flow chart that depicts the inputs, activities, outputs, outcomes, and impact in how they are associated with long-term program implementation. So logic models, similar to TCAE, have been used in program planning and evaluation since, like I said, early 1980s and 1990s, and preceding the popularity of TCAE. The Anderson, in fact, describes logic models as placing a greater emphasis on representation of actual program components. So the basic inputs and outputs, activities and outcomes and impacts of the program. So according to Anderson, TCAE is a description of how and why a set of activities should be part of the highly focused program or comprehensive initiative, and expects to lead early, intermediate, and long-term outcomes over a specified period. So furthermore, we as church, we are nonprofit, we should ask why we exist, right? So for whom do we exist? Who has a stake in societal challenge and the problems and what has to be changed? So based on these questions, we need to learn how to build the logic model. So as a practical methodology for performance measurement, I would like to introduce to you W.K. Kellogg Foundation's logic model as a roadmap, guideline and measurement tool for church and parachurch organizations' performance measurement. The W.K. Kellogg Foundation's Logic Model Development Guide, actually you can download it and we will have information for you. And in my humble opinion, it is invaluable resource for people who are planning and implementing and evaluating the effectiveness and efficiency of the ministry, the program. It provides a different perspective on relationship between the logic models and TCAE. So in this guide, the authors describe three types of the logic models. In fact, theory approach models. Theory approach models, we call it TAM, theory approach models. And then outcomes approach models, we say OAM. And then there are third one, activities approach models, AAM. So theory approach, outcome approach, and activity approach. So according to classification, TAM, the theory approach models emphasize the theory of change that has influenced the design and plan for the program and are used to illustrate how and why the program would work. Okay? And then OAM, outcomes approach models, describes the program's anticipated outcomes or impacts over time, going from short-term to intermediate to long-term outcomes. And then AAM, activities approach models, describe program implementation, providing the specific phases and steps for program operation. From this perspective, the theories of change are, basically all one type of logic model. Kellogg Foundation's logic model provides constituents with a roadmap describing the sequence of related events connecting the need for the planned program with the program's desired results. So mapping a proposed program helps you visualize and understand how human and financial investments can contribute to achieving your intended program goals, and also it can lead to program improvements. So you can download the complete documents and study it. And I found that it is a very real, practical tool. Adaptation of this model results in useful tool for both planning and evaluating your community outreach ministries. So use the logic model, and I guarantee you it will help missional church movement leaders to implement changes that are necessary to deliver high quality and relevant community outreach ministries. So this model is useful again to designing and in terms of the planning and then implementing and then measuring is success. So to me, it's a complete package. So the logic model uses strategic thinking and process to measure three variables. And number one, efficiency. The efficiency is quantitative success. The degree to which a program or service has been beneficial in relationship to its resource. So it is quantitative measurement. And then effectiveness is qualitative measurement, the degree to which goals have been reached. So it's qualitative measurement. And then impact is both. Combining efficiency and effectiveness, the degree to which program or service resulted in changes in our community and individually. So it is a measure of both quantitative and qualitative success of a community outreach ministry. So impact is measured by both efficiency and effectiveness. So you cannot measure your impact without focusing on both quantitative and qualitative success. So the logic model has 5 major components. The first 3 are quantitative measurement, and the other 2 are qualitative measurement. So let me walk you through the 5 basic logic model components, which illustrates the connection between your planned program, your ministry, and your intended result of the program. So, number one, input. Input includes the human capital, financial resource, organizational, the resources and community resources that program has available in order to make it work. So input is resources that you need, tangible resource and intangible resource. Second is activities. The program activities are, divided into three major engagement. It's a process. It's not activities are not events anymore. So I hope that you understand that. Activities are not equal to events. It's a process, it's a tool, it's a technology, and actions that are, intentional part of the program implementation. These include, number one, so products, okay? Products. It's about producing promotional materials and educational curricula. So number one, products. Number two, service. The education and the program activities and countings and health screening, when and where those programs have been delivered. When you have, how you provided services. So that's the second. And then third is infrastructure. So it's about your partnership, your network, your relationship with internally and externally, with the different public sector, private sector, nonprofit sector, collaborators. So this demonstrate your capacity, how you can maximize, desired result. So program activity, the activities deals with, number one, again, products. Number two, services. And number three, infrastructure. So product is educational tools that you will develop. Service is in a specific program, how and when and where it will be delivered. And number three, infrastructure is partnership, the network, the ecosystem that you develop. And number three, outputs. Remember that? Input, activity, outputs. Outputs are the direct results of a program activity. Okay, that's easy. So it's a direct result of program activity, product, service, and infrastructure. So you will include the levels of tangible result. So how many products that you have developed, the program products that you have created and delivered, how many people have been benefited by those educational tools that you have designed and deliver. And then service is where you will say how many times we have delivered this program in places like in the church and the school and the corporate sector and the different opportunities. And then infrastructure is partnership from public sector, private sector, and nonprofit sector. So who have become part of your network that have supported. So how many of them that you have developed your partnership. So again, your outputs portray the volume of a program's action, such as products created or delivered, a number of people served, classes held, and so forth. So input, activities, and outputs, they are quantitative data measurement tool. Input, activities, output, measures, quantitative success. Quantitative measurements focus on numbers. You got it. So quantitative data measurement is a measuring of efficiency of the program. Okay? So quantitative measurement equals measuring efficiency of the program. So we focus on input, activities, and output. Now we're going to make a transition to qualitative. number 4, which is outcomes. Outcomes are specific changes in a program participant's knowledge, skills, attitude, behavior, and level of functioning expected as a result of the program activities. So outcomes measures the result of services on individuals. So, what happened to individual who participate in your program? Have you increased their knowledge? Have you enhanced their skill set? Have you influenced their attitude and their behavior? So I know sometimes people like to use the output and outcome interchangeably, but output is qualitative measurement and outcome is output is quantitative measurement and outcome is qualitative measurement. So effective change that requires the long-term commitment. So outcome actually focuses on both short-term outcomes, which is attainable within 1 to 2, 3 years. And while long-term outcome should be achievable within even 4 to 6 years. So the logical progression from short-term to long-term outcomes should be reflected in impact, occurring within even 7 to 10 years. So in other words, you have to commit in a long-term investment in your community because the change will not happen overnight. So community transformation requires long-term commitment, not just 1 year, 2 year. Yes, you will have a short-term outcomes along the way, but the greater impact, the end result will occur in a much later 7 to 10 years. So for example, let me illustrate individual and organizational and community level outcomes through a deliberately discipleship developmental organization. So individual immediate individual outcome will be the leadership growth, and the short-term impact is organizational level change, and then long-term is definitely community level change. You understand this? Okay, I hope you do. So the immediate, the short term is what happened to the individuals in our life, right? Their leadership competencies. Have we enhanced that? And then, the intermediate part is what happened to the organization due to individual leadership development. Have these individuals made a difference in their organization? And then long-term is a community. So these individuals who have been developed their leadership, not only they made a difference in organization, but have they made a difference in their community? So that's how you see the progression, And then number 5 is the impact, which is the fundamental, in my humble opinion, it has to be intended change and occurring in organization and also community and or system as a result of program activities within 7 to 10 years, such as improved conditions and increased capacity. So impact often occurs after the conclusion of the project, engagement and funding and so forth. So for example, in short term, we might ask, what will happen to your organization? Okay, that's a short term. But long term, we would ask, what would happen to your community? Okay, so outcomes and impacts are qualitative data, qualitative measurement. Focus on people's experience, increasing their knowledge, enhancing their skill set, and influencing their behaviors and attitude. And of course, making a difference in our community. So qualitative data measurement is focusing on effectiveness of your ministry. So I hope you have a general understanding, but if you don't, do not worry. We will go into more detail and explaining about these 5 components: input, activities, output, quantitative measurement, focusing on efficiency of your ministry, and outcome and impact is qualitative measurement. We will focus on effectiveness of your ministry.